Well, good afternoon, or good morning, or good night, depending on when you're listening to this. Welcome to Fraternize with these guys. I am your co-host, Pastor Pinewood, and we got
your other co-host, Beezy.
And we're in the doghouse for our first recording.
The very first episode, we are recording in the doghouse. This is my shop.
And we are super excited to be doing this. Thank you for all of y'all have been thinking about this and preparing for the release and the drop, and man, we're excited too. And I have heard from most folks that the first 5 to 10 podcasts are pretty horrendous. So
yep. I'm
ready to be terrible and recorded.
Oh, I expect that. There's no do to boot it.
No doubt at all. I tell you what, we've been wanting to do this for a long time.
Many years.
Many years.
We've been talking about this since, oh gosh, what was that,
2017 in Colorado?
2017 in Colorado.
Yeah, talking about the Wormcast.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, and actually, I think your wife owes a little bit of a shout out to helping us come up with the Wormcast originally.
Yep.
And then pushing us to do the unoriginals at one point.
Yep.
And then also she did our very beginning fan graphic stuff.
Yeah, she's definitely what keeps me in the doghouse.
Yeah, that's for sure. Come on, lady, let him out of the doghouse every once in a while.
I'm telling you.
But we're excited, and I tell you what, the graphics look pretty dang good.
I was very surprised, and she did all of that off of her phone with a stylus.
Yeah, man, we should
we should put him on our team.
Maybe. I don't want to pay her, but she could definitely be on the team.
Well, you don't have to worry about that. I will pay for it in flesh.
Oh, gotcha. That's disgusting. Well, I appreciate you doing that, and I appreciate her making that sacrifice because, God, that sounds horrible.
Yep. We love you. Thank you, Rachanda.
Thank you very much. All right. Well, like I said, this is our very first one. We're ready to get into it. And the whole idea behind this is just two idiots sitting at a table with differing points of view on things, similar personality traits, similar humor. What would you call that? Similar
sense of humor.
Sense of humor. I don't know why I couldn't come up with that. I had a stroke. I don't know what the deal was. But we're going to go through some questions, and we'll answer those questions to the best of our ability, then hopefully leave you something to maybe think about in your everyday walk, and know that there are people much smarter than you out there. And as we'll find out today,
quite a bit of people dumber than you.
Much dumber than you. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of egress as you go through your day. But first, the most important section of all podcasts should be this next one. And we're going to jump right into our libations. And I do want to make one quick correction. We are doing a libations library. So the idea is that every time we're together and we do one of these podcasts, we're going to have a tasty beverage that we're going to enjoy.
Yep.
And we're both going to enjoy the same beverage on each podcast. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And then we do not have very similar taste buds. Even though our sense of humors are similar, our taste buds are quite a bit different.
I have what is called a refined palate. And Reese, Pastor Pinewood, has just a dumpster fire going on in his mouth.
Well, we'll see how many agree with me in the long run. And I also want to, I'll just address this now, and we'll address it going forward. There's nothing sinful about a pastor drinking a beer at all, and I'll deal with this at a later date in depth. But just for now, I'm just going to get that out of the way. If you're already being judgy, 5 minutes into our first podcast, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you.
Probably not for you, Karen.
Probably not for you, Karen. You can just pack up your hair and your britches and your stupid dog, and you can just go ahead and get on at it.
There's no manager to speak with.
That's right. We're the managers.
We're the managers.
Co-managers. What are we drinking today, Brandon?
So let's crack them. All right. What we are drinking today is the Santa Fe Brewing Company's. It is called the Imperial Java Stout.
All right. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
All right. Episode number 1. This is a great beer, by the way. Mm-hmm. That is quite tasty. That is lip-smacking tasty.
Lip-smacking. So kind of the premise that we're going to do for the Libations Library is what we will do is taste the beverages, and we will build a sort of running ranking. Once we get the social media and all that rocking and rolling, we'll keep adding these, and we'll have a running list of this with our fraternize with these guys ranking list, I guess.
Yeah, we will definitely have some differing opinions, but I think tonight we're very much on the same page. The Java Stout is out of New Mexico, Santa Fe Brewing. It's an ale that is made and brewed with coffee beans. And just for those out there that are wondering if, because it's made from coffee beans, if that means it's kind of falls in a loophole category where you can actually enjoy this beer before noon.
I enjoy several different types of beers before coffee or not.
Yeah, I would say, but you know, that's a little bit socially awkward at times, especially at McDonald's
and church.
it's just really hard to do that in the mornings. But this one, you know, if you poured it in a mug, in a coffee mug, I think it'd be totally acceptable.
I agree.
Even
I'll try it at work in the morning.
You're gonna try it at work tomorrow?
We'll give it a shot.
Okay. Well, at least you'll have more time for podcasting.
There we go. Probably won't have that job for long.
That's right.
So
hopefully we get our first sponsor soon, because we're gonna need that.
on a scale of 1 to 100, where do you want to throw this one?
I'm going to throw this in a high 80s, so probably an 88, 89. I'm not going to give it a 90 because it has a little bit of a bitterness to it that I don't like on the outset. However, it is a stout, and that's kind of to be expected, but it's at 8%, so it's a hefty beer, and it tastes fantastic, but not quite 9 out of 10 for me, so I'm going to give it a hard and fast 89.
89. Well, I'm certainly glad that you are more eloquent on your descriptions, because granted, I do have a refined palate, but my descriptors are like, it's good, me like, tastes good, get drunk.
Refined palate, not so refined vocabulary.
That is accurate.
All right.
Indubitably. So I think I'm kind of with you on that one. I think I want to give this one actually an 88. It is a phenomenal beer. One of my go-to stouts.
Fantastic beer, would not change a thing. 3 out of 5 stars.
It is great. However, there are a handful of stouts that I do prefer over this one.
Agreed.
So that's why I can't get. Plus, it's the very first one. We can't have 100.
That's true. That's
so
true.
I don't know that we'll ever actually.
I don't know either.
I don't know that I could put 100 on a beer.
I got a couple I could think might come close, but you just can't come right out of the gate with a thoroughbred.
I'm telling you.
You got to have a little wiggle room there going forward.
Exactly. So that's where I'm going to stand on this one. I think I'm gonna rock out with an 88.
Okay. All right. So in the future, we'll also have some cigars and other things that we pair with our beers. So, but for now, for the first one, that's where we're going to be. So we'll enjoy this beverage as we go forward. Now, right into our questions. I know we have some wonderful questions today. We don't know what we're going to call this segment, but this is the bulk of what we're going to do. So let's just right out of the gates. Let's go ahead and get started.
All right. So the first question we've got off of Yahoo Answers, and it starts out. What cost can I expect if I take my date to McDonald's for dinner? There are specials that feed two. Can I take my own drinks? Why pay them $2 for a 10-cent Coke?
Well, I will say one thing. If you take your date to McDonald's, you'll only have one date. So you won't have any future incurment of cost. There's that to consider.
Or the other thing to consider, if she does come back for another date, you probably should just marry her.
That's a good point. Maybe just go ahead and wrap it up right there.
Well, I guess the other question is...
Could you get married at the McDonald's while you're eating?
Oh, they probably pay for it and cater it.
Man, I wonder if we're missing that segment of society. If there's a hole there, there's something that could be filled. Because...
With a double cheese.
With the double cheese.
And some chicken McNuggets.
we should open a service. We'll officiate your McDonald's white trash wedding for $50 and a double cheeseburger.
And you'll have kegs of PBR.
For sure. I'm also thrown by the can I bring my own drink in?
It's $2 for a 10-cent Coke.
Is it even $2?
Actually, I think it's
like $1.08, isn't it?
I remember they had that thing. It was 99-cent drinks. So plus tax. If you're in New York, yeah, it's probably $2.50.
Well, you can't even get a drink over 16 ounces in New York.
Oh, that's true. Nah, stupid New York.
Commies.
Commies. But yeah, that's I think the other question that we're missing here is if he is worried about a $2 Coke and he's bringing her to McDonald's, you got to think that she or he is liable to be a portly fellow.
That's a fair point. Do we have any idea if this
So-
is a man or woman asking this question? I would assume it's a man because, you know, we're sexist and old-fashioned and would assume that a man would take a woman out on a date.
Well, it's asked. The person's name is American Male Earnington.
Okay. Earnington, like earning money?
Earning money.
Okay, he's clearly not if he's worried about going to McDonald's. That's the most ironic name on all of the interwebs.
Gotta love internet trolls.
Gotta
Has
love
to
it.
be a troll question.
Yes. Well, I would say you need to expect $10 to $20 depending on selections. And if he is a portly fellow and he takes a portly girl, maybe more than that. Just depend on, you know, might take a lot of McDonald's to fill old Piggy up.
I did read an article not too long ago about a gentleman who ate 413 chicken McNuggets and directly had a stroke.
Okay.
So
I tell you, you know what's more incredible than that story? The fact that you would read an article.
you know, it was text to audio, so it was read to me.
You listened to it. I see. So how many did he eat?
413, if I recall correctly.
Holy cow. And he died?
But I mean, let's just go ahead and say yes.
Okay.
I
mean, either
I
or
can't
is bad.
assume. I think it said something about how he had a stroke.
Wow.
Now, people can survive strokes, but
That's true.
if you're downing 413 chicken McNuggets, you're either massive or a little Chinese girl.
That's true. I wonder, you know what the tell is? You know how we could tell what he drank?
A Diet Coke.
If it was a Diet Coke, he's huge.
Yeah.
If it was a regular Coke, it's a small Chinese girl.
or a water.
Or the water. Do they sell water at McDonald's? They sell anything health conscious at McDonald's?
Yeah, most certainly. Water is like $7.
Oh, see? So if he takes a healthy girl, it's going to cost him more.
Exactly.
The irony is palpable.
Palatable.
Okay, I think we. So the answer is $10 to $20 for a normal date. Also, I would say again white trash, but I would say that is an acceptable first date. You're not going to make a wonderful impression, but it's acceptable.
I mean, I'll disagree. It's not acceptable. But,
Not acceptable.
But $10 to $20 is what you're going to be spending.
Well,
You know what? Spring for the $2 Coke.
yes,
You're already cheaping it up.
yes.
Don't cheap it up harder unless you're going to bring a pocket flask or something. So if that's the case, put some whiskey, spring $2 for the Coke, and then dump a little whiskey in there, and you're good to go.
Hey, there you go. Hey, that opens a whole new avenue to the date experience. If you could sneak whiskey in.
That's true.
Okay. Well, that's interesting.
So
All right. I would say I'd say run with it, Mr. Earnington, and hopefully you live up to your name at some point.
all right, well, let's hit this next one, buddy. Okay, this is clearly a troll. I mean,
Some of these have to be,
there's
right?
some of these that you're. I know me personally when I read these, I'm blown away at how idiotic these questions are, and this is definitely a gold star winner for the most idiotic question, but it's brilliant, and that's why it's going to be on this show.
All right. Fair. Hey, by the way, before you go into that,
Yeah.
if you want to send us questions,
Oh yes.
we got an email address all set up, and unfortunately, I don't know it at the moment, so we're gonna have to plug it in here. So I'm gonna edit this in later, and the email address is okay. So hopefully I got that plugged in there. And you can send us your questions. You can also find us on Facebook at Fraternize with These Guys, and hopefully Instagram and even Twitter in the future. So tweet us your questions, Facebook us your questions, and we will manhandle you in our answers, just like we did with that ridiculous McDonald's question.
And you can also submit questions that you find that deserve to be on here. Or ideally, if you personally have questions that you want us to answer, that would be ideal.
That would be. And serious questions are, of course, appreciated. So we don't have to do McDonald's and poop questions every single time. A little foreshadowing there. I apologize. All right. Question number 2 today.
Okay. This is coming in from an anonymous person, so we're going to name him Flub.
Okay. It's great.
All right. I ordered plane tickets. How do I clear off landing space for when the plane comes to pick me up from my house? And he goes on to explain. I ordered plane tickets to Florida, and the flight is next week. About how much space should I clear in my backyard for the plane to land and pick me up? And should I ask the neighbors to move their stuff as well to make sure there's enough room for the plane?
Okay. Lots to unpack there.
There's so much to unpack. I don't even know where to begin.
The first thing I would say is I would expect this man to be from Florida, not flying to Florida.
Exactly.
So there is that to start with. Secondly, it also depends on the size of the plane. I mean, did you book a Cessna to get you, just across the state line? Because you probably were born in Florida and you're just,
trying to get back home to
yeah,
say
just
hello
trying to get back home
to sister mom.
Yeah, maybe this is the result of taking your first date to McDonald's.
Nice callback.
This is where you end up. So you order a plane. By the way, don't know, obviously has no idea how planes work.
Clearly.
But let's just say he's going to clear out of space. Does he have the land for that? Is it going to be his street? Does he live in an apartment?
He's on the 3rd floor apartment, and he shares a balcony.
And just to be clear, you're making all of that
I'm
up.
making all of that up.
Right.
That's just an assumption.
It's a pretty good assumption, I would say.
I think it's fair to say that he's probably got a little 300 square foot bungalow and a quarter acre.
A quarter acre. Wow.
Quarter acre.
Well, I don't think you can get a plane down on a quarter acre.
I know you can't.
I mean, you might be able to finagle a helicopter.
I mean, I've been flying airplanes about 52 years. So I need at least 3/4 acre.
Well, thank you for bringing your experience to the table on this particular question.
Yes.
So, obviously, just a troll.
Sure.
Or a very young child who is goofing on everybody.
Well, and this is the other thing that speaks to our technological era that we're in now, where Uber, somebody will order an Uber comes pick them up, and maybe this is just that $1 million idea that we need to do Uber flights.
Hey, man, it's a good point. And as I think we pointed out maybe last time you and I just kind of spoke about this,
Yep.
there is such thing as Uber helicopters, like right now.
Yeah.
Like there's a service that the rich folks in congested areas, they'll just get picked up on the top of buildings and helicoptered over wherever they're going.
Yeah, this was the other brilliant idea that we had whilst we were discussing this. Wow. Was we would have a trailer.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. A transforming trailer.
So that was just transformed into a helipad.
So we just roll the thing down the road, come to our destination at whatever point. The trailer transforms and opens like Optimus Prime, getting ready for a fight, and then the plane just takes off from there, or that's the landing spot? I couldn't remember.
That was the landing spot or the pickup point.
Oh, yeah.
Or you just held the helicopter Uber and we're like, hey, I'm stuck on the I-40. I need you to pick me up. I'm at exit 3. You can't miss the helipad on the interstate. Just park and get me.
It's the big green H on the back of the trailer. Yeah, I think it's a winning idea. Now we need investors. So if you're out there listening and you want to invest,
possibly you.
I think it shouldn't cost any more than a couple $100 million.
And maybe. I mean, that's if we're going to run a fleet.
That's right. And I know some of y'all out there, you got some disposable cash.
Disposable cash is for our mobile helipads.
Yeah, you could just write a check. You know, we can get it done.
Make it out to cash, if you could, please.
We've got a checking account and a savings account.
See the way our checking and our savings work. I don't think we can use that. That's Kevin Hart, isn't it?
How many comedians can we rip off in one episode?
I'm gonna go with probably 13.
Well, we've done about 3 so far.
Yes.
So
So
okay.
we're lollygagging.
Now, I do have a question about this particular gentleman or lady. Did anyone respond to them?
Yes.
Do we have any good responses? Because that would be paramount.
Yes. One of the great ones was not really worth the time to write that. You must be bored.
All right, same conclusion we came to.
There's another one that says about 50 feet squared should do it.
50 feet squared. I don't think that's accurate either.
No, not even. I don't even know. Yeah, I guess a helipad is probably about 50 foot squared.
Yeah, maybe.
I think so.
You know, this this doghouse that we're sitting in right now is probably, 20 by 10?
Yeah.
So maybe enough? I don't know. I'm not wise in the helicopter world.
Well, I've only been flying helicopters for about 28 years, so I'd say 50 by 50 is plenty good. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for weighing in there with your prowess. Any
You
other clever remarks?
No. So this guy says, no. You have totally misunderstood the concept of flying. They are flying Florida over to you, so you don't have to do anything except for mix a strawberry cocktail for the pilot when Florida arrives at your house.
I like that.
He wins.
He
wins the internet.
Yeah, that's quippy. I enjoy that.
Best question there.
Okay. All right.
Best question and answer, I guess.
Sounds great. All right. Well, I'm definitely tired of that particular question. So let's go on to number 3.
You want to get it or you want me to?
I think it's the plane question, right?
That's what we just did.
The coffee question.
Yeah. All right. So, next question. I ordered iced coffee, but they gave me a hot coffee. What can I do?
And that's it.
That is the question.
That's the question.
It's from Anonymous.
Okay. I'd want to be anonymous too if I was asking a question like that.
So we're gonna call this one Starbucked.
Okay. Dunkin' Donutted.
Man, you got dunked on.
You got dunked on. Obviously, catchphrases are not our thing, but
Well,
anyway.
yours.
Yeah, that's fair. I think the first answer depends on what country you're living in when this particular instance occurs. If you're in Mother Russia, and
Mother Russia gives you hot coffee because you deserve hot coffee.
if you're in Mother Russia in a fascist state and you're ordering coffee from the state coffee shop, probably best not to create a stink over it. Probably better to take your coffee and just go ahead and drink it and shut up.
Otherwise, you go to the gulag.
Yeah, in the gulag, they probably don't serve hot coffee.
No.
If they do,
it's definitely going to be iced coffee there.
Yeah, that's right.
Always.
Yeah, not very much hot coffee in Siberia, probably.
I tell you what they should have done. Instead of I would assume that they went to a Starbucks or Dunkin', a chain coffee shop.
Okay.
They should have just gone to McDonald's.
Hey, they could have went to McDonald's and got a $2 drink. And McDonald's aims to please.
I'm telling you, maybe McDonald's needs to sponsor us.
Maybe so. Maybe so. I don't want any of their products, but they could write us a check every week.
I'll take diarrhea.
Yeah, that's gross.
I'll do 412 chicken McNuggets.
Hey, that's a great question for next week. How many McNuggets can you eat without getting a stroke? What's the maximum number you can eat without having a stroke?
Well, clearly it's 412 because he found out 413 is when you stroke out.
So 413 is the cutoff. So 412 is totally in the clear. I wonder how much that would cost. What if your date ate 412 chicken McNuggets on your first date?
Whew, that is going to run you probably $40-50.
And a marriage and a wedding, because you're going to probably marry that one.
Yeah. If she's throwing down that many,
that's sure.
Just load her up, fill the trough, and you're good to go.
Absolutely. Okay, so look, the pastoral answer to this question is clearly you just kindly go up to the person and say, "Hey, dipstick, you made my coffee wrong. please change it, and then you throw it at him.
I mean, yeah, that's
That's the Christian thing
what
to
Jesus
do, right?
would do.
Jesus is not above turning over tables
That's
from
true.
time to time.
That's
so
true.
maybe this would warrant that kind of righteous outrage.
Did he turn that table over because he was given an iced coffee when he ordered a hot coffee?
You know what? It's
Maybe.
possible. It's possible. It's
Maybe we just didn't
possible. Old Luke and Matthew, the historians, they left that part out.
Yeah.
Maybe he just got served some iced coffee.
Karen.
Jesus did have long hair. So,
That's true.
maybe it was Karen-esque.
I think it's pretty simple.
Sounds simple.
The question itself is super simple.
So, what's the probability of this being a troll question versus a real question?
Probably 99%.
Probably so.
Troll.
However, the simplicity, that's right.
Yeah.
The simplistic nature of the question also kind of points to maybe just an idiot,
Which is fair.
which is fair. Also, being around young people, like 10, 11, 12-year-olds, especially like young people that are valley girls, they may not know what to do in that.
Oh my God.
I mean,
I said that I wanted
So-
a hot coffee, not an iced coffee.
So maybe they don't ask. Maybe they're too scared to ask, and so they go to their Yahoo questions hoping for some guidance.
So they're sitting at the coffee table and they're just hammering on their phone. I told them I wanted an iced coffee or a hot coffee, and they gave me an iced coffee.
And waiting for answers. And are there any answers to this question?
Yes, and every one of them is like, exchange it.
Seems logical.
Troll.
Okay.
Wait for it to get cold. I do like that.
That one's a pretty good answer.
Just go home, put it in the fridge.
Yeah, you could go home and let it chill on the counter for just a little bit, and then add some ice cubes to it.
You know what? You should take it to your house and chill, and your coffee should chill too, because you need to. Oh, look at that!
Double chill.
Psychology. I've been studying psychology for about 28 years.
But what if the problem was the opposite? What if you ordered
A hot coffee?
a hot coffee? No. What if you ordered an iced coffee, but they gave you
A hot-
I'm confused now.
I ordered an iced coffee, but they gave me a hot coffee.
Okay. What if you ordered a hot coffee and they gave you an iced coffee? I guess you could just do the opposite of that. You could
Go
take it
home,
home,
put it in
and
the microwave.
Put it in the microwave. Bam! You got a hot coffee.
Bam!
So, I guess if nothing.
I mean,
The answer is you don't do anything. You just wait for it to become an iced coffee.
sack up, Nancy, and just wait until it's your desired temperature.
I think we've solved that young person's dilemma.
Question 3 in the bank.
In the bank. All right. Question 4 is fantastic, by the way.
I love it already.
And it comes with a question that we'll kind of banter with for a second, and then we'll deal with one of the best answers that I could find for the question.
Beautiful.
Okay, question is, I'm in college and don't have a lot of money, as you do when you're in college.
Been there.
For a bit. We were there for a bit.
I've been going to college for about 28 years.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I happened to manage to cram a 4-year degree into about 7.
7?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So winners on all sides of the aisle.
I did a 4.5 degree and dropped out after a year.
What's a 4.5 degree?
4.5 year degree.
Oh, there you go. Okay. I thought we were talking like Masonic levels or something.
Well, yeah, I mean that too.
Oh, wow. Okay, and you dropped out. Good on you for dropping out of the Masons in the semester, because they would probably have already consumed your soul at this point. Okay, I'm in college and don't have a lot of money. I usually just have ramen noodles every night. Okay, so far, I am totally relating to this individual. No problems, right?
I agree.
Sounds like a
1000%.
typical, normal college dude, and I can definitely get behind it. However, it takes a turn for the worse, like immediately after this.
So you wouldn't want to get behind it coming up?
Definitely not now. Definitely not now. I usually just have ramen noodles every night, but I eat my own poop. If I eat my own poop, could I get more nutrients out of the food and the poop because it was in me at one point? All right, so I was with him. 100%, and then it gets worse, but
there's more.
There's definitely more
to this.
Okay, so I'm just saying, I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Oh my.
Okay, so I eat ramen noodles every night, but if I eat my own poop with the ramen noodles, could I get more nutrients out of the food? I like how he's worried about the nutrients that he's going to get out of the food. He says, and he closes with, I wonder if I could eat my own poop safely. So it's all about not just eating your own poop, but can you eat it safely?
He's into poop play.
I don't know what he's in. Albert Fish.
Albert Fish. Peanut butter.
Peanut butter. Shout out to Time Suck. Yeah. So I don't know how to answer this question if it's a real question. I doubt it is. I would hope for all goodness sake out there that this is a false question and a fake question and a troll. However,
again, you don't know.
You don't know. You know, we did watch. Maybe he watched The Human Centipede and was like, "Hey, that kind of makes sense."
They're eating and it's passing through, so they're still absorbing the nutrients.
I do like how he brings up nutrients. Like it's a good, well-rounded, at least thought out possibility to the question. Not only can I eat it, but can I eat it and it's be
nutritionally sound?
Yes. So if he's trying to save money by adding something besides the shrimp packet, which by the way probably tastes better than the shrimp packet, can it make it more nutritious?
So the obvious answer here is clearly all he's been doing is eating ramen noodles. So what he needs to do is throw the packet out every other one. Don't use the packet and just throw a dupe nug in there and use it as like a bouillon cube. Because those packets are straight sodium anyhow. So.
Well, look, not only are you saving money, but you're doubling your recipe. You're making it go farther.
Yes.
And if some of the corn gets through the first time, you're definitely going to be able to clean it up the second go around.
What? Oh, you're getting them highfalutin cups?
Yeah, the ramen cups. This guy's probably not dealing with that.
No. We're talking packages, bro. Packages.
So he's literally eating ramen, pooping out ramen, and eating it again.
Yes.
To try to absorb more nutrients out of the already nutrient deficient ramen noodles.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I've clearly discussed it. All right. Now, the greatest part of this question is the answer, because there is a serious answer that is quite fantastic. It says from a strictly scientific stance. I love how she starts the answer to this question. From a strictly scientific stance, you can eat your own poop because the bacteria in it are yours, your own natural flora, and they won't harm you. You don't want to start sharing poop, however. I don't think that's scientifically correct.
No, that's not scientifically correct. And I've only been doing science for about 13 years, so you can't hold me to this, but I'm pretty sure that poop is what your body has already absorbed from what you've consumed. They've taken all the nutrients that your body is able to get and requires, and then that is what's called waste. And it is waste for a reason.
So this is what the body has already rejected.
It's what your body has already processed.
Yeah, and got rid of.
Yeah, said, okay, send it down. Send it through the poop chute. Drop this to the poop deck.
So you're eating your own bacteria. I just don't think that's correct.
I'm sure there is bacteria in your poop because
most definitely
it's what's coming out.
Yes.
It's going to be trapped in there with it.
Yes.
But
I don't think it's going to meld with your good bacteria. I don't think it's just going to accept it into its into the cellular walls.
It has one poop to rule them all.
We are clearly not scientists, but I'm pretty confident you probably can't eat your own poop. At least not safely.
You certainly can't. That's, and I don't want to kink shame anybody that's into that kind of stuff. But
I mean, the Albert Fishes are out there.
I mean,
consenting adults, by the way.
Consenting.
Yes, don't pull an Albert Fish.
You certainly. It's not healthy.
Not healthy. Okay, and then I like how she cleans it up, because she started with from a scientific stance.
But did she wipe?
I don't know. Front to back?
Back to front,
for sure. I don't know. And then she says, from a strictly human stance, however, please don't eat poop. So at least she gets it right in the end. But I'm still a little concerned for the college kid. Look, if this is you and you're in college and this is the question you ask, send me an email because I'll help you out, bro. Like, I'll send you some bucks because
give you a couple dollars.
Yeah, you shouldn't be contemplating.
At least what you want to do is spring on occasion for the green chili or the jalapeno one, to where it burns when it comes out. So then you don't want to eat it.
There you go. And if you save enough money, maybe you can take you a date to McDonald's. Yeah, there you go.
Hey, McDonald's is just about as cheap as ramen, anyways.
I didn't think that a date at McDonald's could get worse, but eating a little poop ramen is definitely a worse first date.
Poop ramen.
So yes, definitely a worse first date than McDonald's.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've ran the gamut today on questions.
We did. We hit them.
Wow. So
that's the 4.
Man, coffee. Throw that thing back in the barista's face and say, "Get me a new one." Plane, please don't be an idiot. The plane's not coming to you.
Just order a helicopter.
Just order a helicopter from us, by the way.
Yes.
And take your lovely lady friend to McDonald's. There's no shame in that.
Hey, the economy's hurting right now.
Ironically, McDonald's is not hurting at all.
Of course it's not.
They're selling millions.
We're plugging the hell out of it.
Yes,
right
we
now,
are.
So.
I'm fully expecting a royalty check from them.
Just whatever you do, stop at 412 McNuggets.
Yes, and don't eat your own poop.
And don't eat your own poop.
Yes. All these questions that we have on a weekly basis, we talk about a little bit before we go in and record. These questions are blind to each one of us and typically involved a little bit of thinking. So I'm going to ask a question that Brandon has not seen, and he's going to ask me a question that I have not seen, and we'll just offer our answers. So I guess...
A little off the cuff.
Yeah, a little bit off the cuff. So I'm going to go first on this one. The question is, and I expect a very thorough, well thought out answer. If I eat myself, would I become twice as big or disappear completely?
Well, I think
And by the way, the phrase, if I eat myself, is, for whatever reason, hilarious to me.
So, by process of elimination...
Well, it's just 2.
You will... Ooh, this is a good one. So if you eat yourself,
Yes.
will you double in size
Yes.
or what?
Or disappear completely.
Okay, well, from a purely scientific standpoint, what's going to happen is if you chew your foot,
Okay.
you start at your foot, let's say we'll cut both the footsies off.
Isn't it interesting that as I was reading and thinking about this, I also chose to start with my feet.
Well, I mean, where else are you going to start? Your hands?
Yeah.
How are you going to cut everything off?
I don't know. I hadn't got that far. It's just interesting.
So if you cut your toes off or your feet, we'll start with feet. You cut those off. You start nibbling them down. It's going to pass through. Your body is going to absorb the nutrients like it would with a poop bouillon ramen. So it's going to absorb everything it can and then digest and then get rid of the waste.
I would also say probably tastes better than a poop bouillon ramen.
I mean, you put a little Tony Chachere's up on there. Maybe hit it with a little mesquite or some liquid smoke.
There you go.
Probably
All
you'd be styling and some pickled pig's feet.
You can get it down.
I'm telling you.
Down. No problem. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, clearly you will only get so far. If you were able to cut everything off down to your legs and to your nubs, you still have to have your entire core
Yeah.
to keep having bodily functions to chew and do all that. Otherwise, you die. So
Okay.
you're only going to get so far. Basically, you could eat your extremities, and after your extremities are gone, then if you try to take anything else, then you're kaput anyways. And with the fact that you've eaten your extremities and they disappear, you would disappear, but you couldn't actually eat your whole self.
Okay.
So you would be a half.
Yes. All right. Let me throw a wrench in there. What if you ate yourself and then ate the poop that was yourself?
Well, then you just turn into a ramen block. You just look like a ramen noodles.
We could call you Torso Boy at the end of the whole
torsos. Hey, you had that new torso flavored ramen?
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good. Pretty good.
I got that BZ flavored ramen. Have you had that one?
Yeah,
Tastes a little poopy, but
a little bit. Pretty rough question.
yeah.
So, moral of the story today: don't eat your own poop and don't eat yourself.
I mean, well, literally you couldn't, but
you could eat part of yourself.
You could eat some of yourself, but that's about it.
I wonder, the guy who ate 413 chicken McNuggets, I wonder if he could get down more.
He probably could, but he would probably start at his butthole.
There's nowhere to go.
If he's gonna, what if he human centipeded himself and just had almost like a perpetual motion?
Well, he definitely want to start with 413 chicken McNuggets then, because by the end of a month of that, it's pretty sparse as far as nutrition.
Oh yeah, starting with 413, there's very little nutrition with that.
That's a good point.
I think you got 413 nutrition points.
Nutrition points. What's a nutrition point?
Well, that's not the scientific denotation of it.
I think we should create the nutrition point scale.
Okay, we'll do it right after Libations Library.
Oh, there you go. We got a 100-point scale on chicken McNuggets, and ironically, they score 2.
So,
2 out of 100.
or what about if we do our Libations Library scale in McDonald's Chicken McNuggets?
I like that. How many chicken McNuggets do you give this beer?
88 Chicken McNuggets.
And the best beer that we ever have gets 413 chicken McNuggets
because you stroke out afterwards.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Okay, well, first inside joke of the podcast.
So, a scale of 413.
413. 1 to 413. 1 being, I don't want to ever do this again. 413 being, I just had a stroke and died.
It was that good.
It was that good. I like it. I think that's hilarious.
All right.
Okay, what's my question, my friend?
All right. Prepare for a thinker. A thinky blinder. Question 2. Scientists say that if the North Pole melts, sea levels will rise. Yet, ice displaces its own weight in water, so when it melts, levels so remain the same, as the North Pole apparently does not sit upon any land. How is its level going to rise? Whoa!
Good question.
Boom!
All right, so you take a glass of water
Yep.
on your counter.
Yep.
You fill it 3/4 of the way full, and you put ice in it until it fills all the way to the rim, and you let the ice melt. There's obviously nowhere for the water to go, and it's not going to overflow because there's no water. There's no extra water that's going to go in there, right?
Correct.
So the same principle is being applied to the melting ice caps. Okay, so I would say that makes sense. However, I would say with the exception of the glaciated ice that sits on land in certain places. Not all of the Arctic Circle is afloat. Some of it does sit on land. And if there's huge ice glaciers on land, when it melts, it would theoretically cause ocean levels to rise. And we do know from past, what did we say a while ago? From the scientific point of view, don't eat poop. From the same scientific point of view, we do know in the past that the ocean levels have been higher and lower. So we know that it's possible. How that works, I don't pretend to know. I would say that question is a half gotcha, because it works a little bit. But if there's ice on the land and it melts, that doesn't work.
Okay.
So if the premise is true that all of the ice sets on water, then obviously when it melts, it would just stay the same because of the displacement that he brings up or she brings up. But I would also interject that there's a lot of ice that is on land, even in the Arctic Circle, that if it melted, it would melt and cause a change of one way or the other.
But compared to ice that is afloat,
yes,
to ice that is attached to a mass of land or a body of land.
yes. Do they call it a body of land?
Oh, I'm calling it. I'm a 13-year geologist, so
I think it's a body of water.
I'm a level 13 geologist. So clearly, I know what I'm talking about. It is a body of land, land mass.
I like landmass
If you
a lot
will.
better. That kind of rolls off the tongue better.
For the layman's, it's a land mass. But compared to the glaciers that are afloat and those attached to land, I'm wondering what the percentages are.
I don't know.
Because I would assume, like Antarctica, that whole dang thing is ice.
Right? And it is land.
There's
land under it. Unless Antarctica doesn't really exist.
Well, no, it doesn't, because it stretches around the entire border of this flat Earth.
That's right. it's just an ice wall.
It's
We
the
learned
ice
this
wall.
in the Lizard Illuminati podcast.
I'm telling you.
You should know this, being a 33rd level Mason.
I am. I just didn't want to bring it up until you piqued your interest.
I mean, you've already served your stint on the ice wall. It's like y'all are like Mormons, right? You got to go serve 2 years on the ice wall.
You have to. You got to walk. It's difficult. They don't allow bicycles. You don't get very good traction with it.
Do you still have to wear that ridiculous cheap suit?
You do, but it's got down feather in it.
Oh, nice.
So it retains the heat pretty well.
Nice. I'm glad the Mormons / Lizard Illuminati really look after you guys.
We do.
That's
mean,
good.
They do.
I mean, if you're going to get your own planet at some point, they should at least take care of you while you're watching out on the ice wall.
Agreed.
Do you ever get to say winter is coming?
Oh, I say it all the time.
Okay, all right. Because I would assume it's always winter, so it'd be hard to
Winter's
say
coming.
winter's coming. But if you're on an ice wall, like you have to
Winter's
say
always
it.
winter's always coming.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't change.
Winter's still here.
Shut up, Carl. I don't know. That makes sense. So I don't pretend to know anything about global warming that much. I
pretend to know quite a bit.
You pretend. Yeah, that's a good point. I would say that it is warming, whether it's man-made or not. That's still left for a lot of conjecture and left to people a lot smarter than you and I, thank God.
Yeah.
Now, you've been
I work with some of them.
You've been a meteorologist for, what, 37 years?
Yeah, 48.
48 years. All right. Well, we're almost done here. We've wrapped up our Peaky Blinders. Here I am stealing our Thinky Blinders. Man, we're going to get sued by so many people.
This is going to be awesome.
But we're getting a royalty check from McDonald's, so maybe that'll cover the lawsuits.
Hey, there we go.
I love it.
Hey, if they're suing us, that means we're doing something right.
That means one of our 14 listeners is them.
Yeah,
Which
well,
is
that's probably
exciting.
right.
Yeah.
Shit.
I like it.
I mean, I'm not going to complain.
Oh, I'm down. So we gone through a whole bunch of stuff today. A
Yep.
whole bunch of stuff. We've gone through McDonald's questions about
Poop
first
ramen.
dates. We've got to poop ramen, which, don't eat your own poop. Like, it's fairly
Unless you're going to use it as a bouillon cube.
Unless you're going to use it as a bouillon cube in your ramen. Don't use it in spaghetti.
No, that completely throws off the flavor because Italian flavors, you're looking for oregano and that kind of stuff. I mean, then poop's just not going to have it.
What if you had Italian poop?
I mean, well then, duh. Of course you're going to use it. And then in that case, you don't want to use a poop deuce for a ramen. I mean, then it's a clash. I mean, you don't have the umami flavor. I mean, it's just, Master Chef would shun you.
Yes. There's a lot of stereotypical jokes I'm glad we're shying away from at the moment. Maybe we'll deal with that in a future episode.
Woohoo! You'll have to stick around.
You will.
Because it's probably going to get much more awkward later on.
Yeah, we've lost all of our audience by now.
Good for them.
Good for them. I'm glad to see them not putting up with this kind of dribble. We've talked about coffee, and if you get a coffee that's given to you wrong, just wait a little bit, and it'll probably be right.
Or you can make it right.
Yeah, just shut up, Karen.
And Karen. And speaking of coffee, we also hit the Java Stout.
Yeah, the beer of the
from,
day. Java Stout from Santa Fe Brewing Company in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Check it out. If you happen to see it, grab you a 6-pack. It's very tasty.
Quite tasty.
Quite tasty. We gave it, 89, 88 out of 100.
Yeah, so we're looking at I did math for about 13 years. So if you take the mean, I would say that is probably an 88.5 on the...
Did you almost say Richter scale?
Well, Actually,
Because that would have been hilarious.
I think we need to change it. We're gonna have to change it
Oh,
because
yeah.
that's a low ranking.
it's true.
But we'll increase for inflation later on. But as of right now, it's going to be an 88.5 on the McNugget scale.
On the McNugget scale. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to transpose those numbers, and we're going to have to account for nugget inflation
Yep.
and bring them up to the nugget number. So it would probably be like 350 chicken McNuggets.
That sounds fair.
I don't know if we want to do that or not.
Probably not.
It's hilarious.
It's
but,
funny.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We'll let the people tell us.
So we've gone, and also the last but not least, don't forget the idiot trying to get to Florida. He's probably still waiting to get to Florida because his plane hadn't shown up yet.
No, Florida came to him. Remember?
Oh, that's right. That's right. And that completely ruined our idea of launching the transforming trailer helicopter pad.
Helo pads.
The helo pads. I don't know why I said it like that.
That's because you hadn't been flying helicopters as long as me.
All right. There are some crazy, crazy folks out there on the interwebs. Keep your head up because I just want you to let you know it can always be worse. And that leads us right into our closing segment today.
It could always be worse.
It could always be worse.
So, this person says, today I've been working 4 months to cover people isolating. So I was finally looking forward to a Saturday of fishing and then a date night with a lazy Sunday watching TV. Only my wife, who, as soon as she heard that I had a whole weekend free, handed me a list of vital house jobs that needed doing now. Well,
It could always be worse.
it could always be worse.
I will say a couple of things real quick before we end.
Real quick.
If you have a wife,
Thank her.
I was just going to say that's pretty standard fare if you have a wife. That's just going to happen.
If you're not doing anything, you're able to actually listen to this with the wife there.
Yeah.
Thank her for letting you do this.
Yes, because she has honeydews for you, like right now in her head.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They're never ending.
I had to do honeydews before we started recording this, so.
We should be doing honeydews
Yeah,
right now.
Right now.
Good thing we're already in the doghouse.
We're in the doghouse.
And also, if you would have taken and married the woman that enjoyed McDonald's, she probably wouldn't be making you do honeydews instead of enjoying your day off.
I mean, to be fair, she probably had already stroked out from the 413 nuggets.
Oh, that brings us to the end of our very first Fraternize with These Guys podcast. How exciting has that been?
Oh, it's been a blast. We want to thank you guys. And next week, we will catch you in the doghouse.
Right back here in the doghouse. God bless y'all. See yous.